Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the update. Don't think this is working properly. I'm hoping it does. My audio is not showing up. There it goes. Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Digital Presence Update. Google just changed some significant things, and I really wanted to talk about it today, but that's one of the many things that we're going to talk about today, for sure. And I know that a lot of people are probably really interested in seeing what is going on and why. But again, I want to mention Google just announced some of the biggest changes to search that we've seen in a very, very long time. And honestly, I don't think most businesses fully understand kind of what's happening yet. Because this isn't just another algorithm update, right? Search itself is changing. And there's a lot of people online who are mad about it, obviously. And there's a lot of people who are online who are excited by it. So let's talk a bit about what it is that is changing, right? Specifically. And we'll go into some other things as well, some more updates that are going on. But again, welcome to the podcast. If you're new here, my name is Joe Wallace. I am the owner and founder and CEO of Tap Solutions, and I absolutely adore helping small businesses find their legs and get moving. So that's what we do here. We help try to demystify things, make things simplified, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you're curious, stick around. If you're not, and you're seeing this after the fact, for sure, take a look at some of the things that we've done in the past as well. If you want more information, we are happy to roll forward any way you guys need. So that being said, let's get straight into it. Google is turning search into a conversation. That is what was said in not so many words in the last update that they provided, and that is what we're rolling with, right? That's what we're seeing happen. And I want to go through a couple of observations on that. So one of the biggest things Google announced recently, and honestly it's one of the biggest shifts we've seen in years, like I said, is that search itself is changing from a list of links, right, into more of a conversation. And I know that sounds small at first, right? But I think people need to understand how big of a shift this actually is. Google has been talking a lot about AI mode, right? AI overviews, conversational search experiences, AI agents, basically turning search into something closer to an assistant than a traditional search engine. This is irreversible, by the way. They're not going back. They refuse to. Basically, Google recently referred to this as a new era for AI search and described it as the biggest search upgrade in over 25 years. Their words. So, let's talk about how the old search kind of worked first so we can see how we got here, right? The road, you know? So let's think about how search used to work. You type something in, right? Google gave you 10 blue links, and then you went exploring. You dove down rabbit holes, right? You compared websites. You read multiple opinions on websites, forums. You spent time researching, right? And you manually evaluated businesses or people or what have you. You know, you did your research, like I said. Now, the new methodology, Google is trying to answer the questions that you originally had or the research that you were doing and do it all for you. Okay? AI summaries, AI generated recommendations, conversation follow-ups, right? And synthesized answers. So search used to give people options. Now it's increasingly so. It's giving them conclusions, and that is the focus. And that changes customer behavior dramatically. You can clip that. So what does this mean? Right? It means that people are spending less time researching than they used to. Why? Is because of the quicker summaries. It's because of the faster answers, the less friction. It's the mobile behavior of this whole thing. The AI generated responses, all this stuff. You can kind of feel the shift happening already. People move faster now. They compare less. They trust platforms to summarize information for them. Businesses are getting fewer chances at the end of the day to make a first impression online in the age of AI. Clip that. By the way, if I ever say clip that, guys, it's because I'm trying to get my automatic AI to go ahead and select that clip as a potential short. You like that? And that's not to say that AI is bad, right? It is to say that it is useful as a tool. But sometimes the tools can go too far, right? I think it's very, very relevant for people to use critical thinking skills, and that AI has the ability to do thinking for you. It's just like when someone basically made the assumption that, hey, you know, I don't know how to tie my shoe when we were children, right? And we didn't want to learn how to tie our shoes. Maybe we didn't want to learn how to tie our shoes because we had someone there to tie it for us. Our parents, family, friends, whatever. You know, you just didn't want to learn. So maybe you resisted learning to tie your shoes for so long until finally you were forced to do it, right? And then you learned and you were like, wow, this is easy. And you never had to ask a person to do it again. Because the problem was, right, is that if you didn't learn how to tie your shoes, you were always relying on someone else to do it. You could not do it. That is the problem with AI right now, is that it is enabling people to not have to try in certain capacities. And it's a very dangerous thing to go down. I'm not saying not to use AI. I think you should. I think you should use it as the tool it is. But it's just like a hammer. Not everything is a nail when you have a hammer. Things may start looking like nails, right? But they're not all nails. Clip that. So let's get back into it. Honestly, I think this is where small businesses are starting to feel pressure about understanding why this is happening. And businesses have great service, typically, but maybe weak online presence. There's some that are like that. Let's say that a business has, like I said, I should have prefaced that, a business has good service, but weak online presence. And maybe they, maybe a business maybe they have an outdated website, right? Or inactive Google Business Profile, which that's terrible, but you should definitely fix that. But it happens. And inconsistent information, weak reviews, whatever, right? In the old version of search, someone might still dig around enough to discover you are a good business, because maybe you do blog posts, you know, on your website. Maybe you have an entire educational thing on your website in the past, right? So someone would spend the time in the old search that Google had to look at that, you know, discover it. Now, no. If your digital presence doesn't validate you quickly, you might not even make it into the consideration pool. What do I mean by that? You're not going to show up at all in the search. You're not going to show up at all in the overview. You're not going to show up on people's radar because you won't show up at all. I can't stress it enough. You're not going to be listed. You're not going to be listed. You're not going to be... I'm not saying... A lot of people assume when I say that, I'm going to rank lower. No. No. You won't rank at all. You'll not exist. That is the problem with where we're going with AI right now in search. So you need to do the things necessary to ensure that does not happen. Okay. So Google's AI review overviews are a huge part of this problem. because AI overviews now appear for a significant percentage of searches and continue expanding globally. Their words. So when someone searches now, basically, Google increasingly tries to summarize the internet for them before they ever click a website. This is what we call a zero-click search. Okay, they're trying to make it to where you have the answer, not just unanswer, which is where we're still at now. Unanswer is what you're going to get that has multiple options. But I think where we're going with this is they want there to be the answer, as in there is one answer to your query. So, food for thought. Get in now while you can, right? And that's what's interesting, and what's interesting is really that the sources AI chooses aren't always the same businesses that rank traditionally, rank high. So there is hope to this. That's not all doom and gloom. All right. Recent research and reporting shows that AI-generated search experiences often cite different sources than traditional ranking. So guys, the people who are buying and sponsoring and purchasing ads, or have hundreds and thousands of backlinks and all the typical web SEO stuff that makes them rank higher, and because they've been doing this for decades and years, or years and decades, you can't catch up to them. But now, with AI, you can, because it's a different rule set. Do you see? So it's not all doom and gloom. You can punch equal or higher than your weight class with AI tools. Clip that. So I think one of the biggest mindset shifts businesses need to understand right now is this. Search is moving from ranking pages to recommending trusted sources. And those are not always the same thing. The future of search may not be ranked, like being ranked first. It may be about trusting enough to be referenced. Keyword on the references. So, one thing that really caught my attention recently is that even Google's CEO acknowledged that some of these AI responses are becoming more opinionated. Sundar Pichai recently commented that some AI-powered search responses were more opinionated than they should be, right? Their words. Honestly, that tells you something pretty important, okay? These systems are no longer just indexing information, okay? They're interpreting it. They're making decisions for you. We kind of mentioned that earlier, but I think that's just more proof, isn't it? So, if search engines and AI systems are increasingly interpreting information, then the obvious question becomes this: how do they decide what businesses to trust? And that's where things like your reviews, your consistency, your authority, your activity, your responsiveness, and your real-world signals start becoming incredibly important. In fact, way more important than your ad budget. Your ad budget is going to increasingly become more irrelevant over time. If you can't even show up on Google organically because you aren't trusted, what makes you think they're going to allow you to spin your way out of the problem with ad budgets? Clip that. The internet is becoming less about visibility and more about validation. And once you understand that, you start realizing why trust signals are becoming one of the most important parts of digital presence today, right? It really is. And I know we harp on that quite a bit, but it's the point that I wanted to mention the Google stuff today because it legitimately talks about the very same things, and it exemplifies the importance of the things that we talk about here, which is digital presence and trust signals. So, here's another part, okay? is that Google is experimenting with AI agents, right? Booking, planning, assisting. Basically, there's deeper agentic AI integrations coming into search experiences. And if those of you do not understand what agentic AI is, feel free to give us a drop, contact us. We'll happily go over that for you because we've been talking about this for the past 2 years. We know a thing or two about it. The goal is also, like I said, zero-click searches. They want to make sure that they are working on that, and that is basically where we're going with that. So I think at the end of the day, we are on the cusp of something that we've been warning about here at TAF Solutions for quite some time. And that is, of course, that AI is going to be focusing more and more on the trust signals. And you're not going to really have much weight as much anymore with your web SEO and your like the weight used to be on search. It'll still be relevant. You'll still need to do it because, guys, they don't usually replace things when it comes to this sort of thing online, the digital presence especially. They usually just add on to it. Okay, and that's part of the problem that a lot of people have faced is that if you're already behind because you don't even have a website or you haven't even done web SEO on your website, then you're going to have a hard time catching up pretty easily. You're going to have to spend a lot of money to catch up. Right now, it's pretty easy. You know, you can spend about $2,200 or $2,300 a month and get your digital presence rolling in a very high capacity and not have to spend much money outside of that for the, every month, $2,400, whatever, a month on average for digital presence. And boom, you'll be doing amazing things. All right. However, you'll also have to remember that you do have one-time costs and monthly costs potentially on web SEO and stuff like that. If you aren't already budgeting for that, that's an additional amount of money. It could be anywhere between $2,000 to $10,000 a month just on web SEO. It depends on your website size. Guys, if you have to play catch up, you can triple or quadruple that. Okay, for a small amount of time, and then you'll have to go down. And so roughly you'll need to spend about 7 to 8% of your budget, your marketing, or your gross income, net, I guess you could say, but we'll say gross income on marketing. That's just the rule. That's how you stay active. So just keep that in mind. But let's get in on the segment 2 on this. I want to talk a bit more about trust signals becoming the real SEO, because I think this is where people are going to really get interested. If search engines and AI systems are increasingly interpreting information instead of just indexing it, right, and then handing it to you, right, then the obvious question becomes is how are they deciding what business to trust, like I mentioned? Look, for years, SEO was heavily about keywords, backlinks, technical optimization, and rankings, right? And those things still matter, like I said. But what's happening now is that trust signals are becoming layered on top of all of that and exemplifying those things, making them more important. They're leaning on them, right? So it's no longer about being visible. It's about being believable, right? Because you can have web SEO helped you become visible. So does local SEO, but web SEO is what we're talking about right now. But now that digital presence has to make what you're saying is visible, believable. All right. And it's not just for human eyes. It's for algorithm and AI eyes, the machine's eyes. So what are trust signals? I keep talking about trust signals. What are they? Right. And that's the question you're going to have to ask. When I say trust signals, I am not talking about some secret Google score all the time. Okay. There is a trust score with Google, but that's not the important part. I am not just talking about that. I'm talking about the collection of signals that make a business feel legitimate online. Okay. Because it's not just Google you're trying to talk to here. It's ChatGPT, it's Perplexity, it's Claude, it's Gemini, Google, aka the algorithms that run all of that. Let's talk about reviews real quick. Signal one, right? One of the best signals you have, and you probably already gotten this, is reviews. Quality, frequency, recency, responses, all those things you have to do to make your reviews look great. The industry reporting from like a place such as searchengineland.com continues emphasizing that the importance of review quality, freshness, and engagement in said reviews really affect search visibility. So don't question it. It is going to be more important than ever. It really is. A business with 3 reviews from like 2019 is a little different than a business that's getting consistent reviews every month. Heck, you could get 100 reviews, right, in 1 month and think my job is done. I've got 100 reviews. I don't have to get 100 reviews for the rest of the year. Okay. And here's the thing. Let's say that business A is doing that and business B decides that they're going to get, they're aiming to get at least 5 reviews every month. Who do you think is going to rank higher that year? And let's say that business B is successful. They get 5 reviews every month, okay? So over 12 months, who is going to rank a little higher? It's not going to be the one that does 100 reviews. It's going to be the one that was consistent. Because 100 reviews all at once, no more, you don't look as human. You don't look as human than if you gradually got them over time. Think about that. AI is basically dictating what looks human or not. And worse, it is going to limit your visibility and how you rank because it doesn't think you're human because of your review consistency. That's just one piece. That's reality right now. That's how it works right now. And everybody's like, so many people think, oh, it's like, stars and stuff. Number go up equal good, right? That means I rank higher. No, you didn't do it the right way. See? And that is one of the challenging things that small business owners can't hope. They can't hope to know without having someone bring them the knowledge, right? Because they're not keeping tabs on stuff like that. And that's what we're trying to do all the time. And it's tough because, I say things like that and people like look at me with a deer in headlights. They're not sure how to react to that. And I don't blame them because it's a tough thing to talk about and digest. But here we are. And it needs to be addressed because you want to be able to compete online. Reviews have evolved from social proof into visibility signals. That is the key takeaway. Clip that. The second signal, sorry to get passionate, but it is a passionate thing of mine that people are successful in their business, is activity and recency. And I think this is another major one, okay? You need to do social media posting. It's not a suggestion. It's not. It's a requirement. You're going to need to do it, okay? Updated business info is important too. Current hours, things like that, right? New photos. I know that can be tied to recent posts, but you also have this thing called Google Business Profile and things like it on your listings and citations that you need to continuously update with photos as well. It's not a one and done thing. I know there's a lot of citation listing folks out there. They're like, I'm going to get you all these listings and you're going to over 100 and I'm going to do it one time. And you're going to be great. It's going to be great. You give them $700, $800, right? They do it one time. And bye. That's the end of that, I guess, right? Here's the problem. You forgot about consistency. So our system does that. It helps you put over to 100 plus different sites out there, right? Accurate listings, name, address, phone number, email. But it does it every 4 hours, right? Because it's consistent. It needs to be consistently updated. Do you want to upload a photo every 4 hours to Google? Not just that, 55 other websites that accept photos that have your email, name, address attached to it, your listing, right? It's kind of like Yellow Pages and stuff, but online, right? For those that aren't familiar. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that, because why would you do that? So you need to have something that does it for you, and that's what we offer, right? Point is that even if we didn't offer it, you need to find a solution that does, because consistency is what's going to be rewarded. So that one time listing splurge is a waste of money. You got conned because they either don't know what Google is requiring of you, or they just don't care. They just don't care. And if they don't know, why would you want to work with them anyway? I get angry about this because we pride ourselves at Tab Solutions on making sure that we give accurate information at the time we give it. Because as we know, information and tech changes constantly. And so we do a lot of research. We do a lot of work to stay up to date. And these people find a package, start selling it, years go by, and they're still selling reputation management by itself, or listings by itself, not updating their knowledge to the new things that will actually help your business. And it's a lot of noise to cut through. Because they're selling their packages for maybe a nominal fee, right? Maybe they're less. Doesn't matter. It doesn't work. That is what the problem is. An active digital presence creates certainty. That is the real takeaway for not just human beings, but all the algorithms and AI in this. But an inactive digital presence creates uncertainty. You can have a fantastic business in real life. You can. But if your online presence looks abandoned, customers hesitate and often assume that it is. I've seen way too many people close their doors because they thought that building it, putting it up there in a strip center or some sort of building, and putting a sign outside, it's all they had to do to get customers. Maybe put their, ad out in a magazine or newspaper, or get all their friends to tell them about it, have a grand opening, put an event on Facebook, whatever. But they stop doing anything at all online, and they worry about the day-to-day in front of them at their business. And online they stagnate. Online nothing happens. And if you want to get new customers, well, if they can't see your sign when they drive by, and honestly, who really looks at signs when they drive by strip centers and things like that these days, especially in busy cities? It's all just white noise at this point. They're never going to find you. They're not going to know you exist. But on their phone, on their desktop, on the browser they're looking through, they'll find you there. And if you abandoned that, you didn't bother to look at it or build it there, well then guess what? You're not showing up at all. So signal 3, consistent 3. Consistency is really important, guys. Matching information has to be everywhere. Same phone number, same hours, same branding, aligned message, all that stuff. Keep that in mind. Search experts continue to emphasize this, by the way, that structured data and consistency is increasingly important for AI-driven search visibility. Increasingly so. All over there on searchengineland.com. I should probably do the nice thing and share my screen. I realize I'm not doing that right now. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, guys, what we're looking at here is exactly that. How structured data supports visibility across Google and AI. And what's interesting about this too is that when we look at this kind of stuff, there's a whole lot of information that needs to be shown in a structured way and not chaotic way when it comes to your website, on-page content, your business profile, all that stuff. So remember, I'm talking about signals and all this stuff. You see some of the same words that I'm using, right? So maybe this legitimizes you a bit, right? We'll come back to more of that, but I wanted to give a quick look at some of that. Now, I think these systems are trying to reduce uncertainty, like I mentioned. So if your information conflicts across the web, confidence just drops. Signal 4 is realness and authenticity. This one is really starting to become way more important over time as well. You need to have real photos on everything that you publish, real interactions, if possible, human responses at the very least, if it's not real reactions. So basically an AI that can actually emulate human responses, much easier than ever before, by the way. And as the tools that we use, you can really customize them down to have the right tone, right writing styles. And of course, a genuine personality is going to always shine through as well, not just in AI, but also in real people. So make sure that you're, at the very least, responding with that in mind. I think people are becoming surprisingly good, actually, at recognizing content that feels artificial. It's very interesting because a lot of AI just writes the same because of the prompts they're given. And their branding is just over polished as heck. Like I know that people like polish, but there's a point that it becomes over polished, right? And I think people are seeing that now as really negative. I don't blame them, because over polished branding is a clear sign of overwriting, and we all know that AI does that, right? Generic language is another way. If I have to hear another post that says something like, it's quietly doing X, Y, and Z or something, it just typical AI writing, right? It's so annoying that people are just straight up copying and pasting, right? It really is. You can at least use it as a good starting point for yourself. It takes a lot of the work off, but still validate, still change, still make your own, right? I guess I come from a different world where a lot of people, in the creative world, because for those that don't know, I spent a good portion of my professional career also working in media, and what I mean by that is media production. So 25 plus years of video production, 3D animation, running studios, owning a business that does that, and I think that a lot of what I dealt with was marketing too. So that's why when I made TAF Solutions, we wanted to focus on small businesses and where our heart is, promoting people that matter, And I think that what it comes down to in the creative sector, a lot of people like to reuse or take inspiration from content, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, when I was teaching this at community college for about 5 or 6 years, I taught one class a semester. I was an adjunct, and one of the things I taught was that I would tell people that stealing is okay, but borrowing is not. And the reason why stealing is okay, in the creative sense, is that you're taking other people's ideas and you're making them your own. You're changing things enough, you're changing things up to where they become yours. So you're not just borrowing. Borrowing is you're just taking it and using it as yours, but it was somebody else's work. So stealing is okay in the creative sense, because you're taking it, changing it, and making it yours. But borrowing is not. And the problem I have right now is I see a lot of people borrowing AI's outputs. Not stealing it, not making it their own, not changing it up. Just literally have had emails from people in high positions, literally with the aftermath of, like, of AI saying, like, would you like me to go ahead and fine tune this? And you're just like, this was in the final email they sent out to a big group of people. The entire output from ChatGPT. My God, what have you done? It's stuff like that I was talking about earlier. It is stuff like that where people do not have to think critically as much anymore. It's doing it for them. And when this is gone, if this ever goes bye-bye for even a little bit, even if there's just an outage, they're going to be, they're not going to write an email anymore. If they ever did. I don't know how to do a blog post. If they ever did. Learn it. Learn it. All the people right now that are making videos from AI generated videos, and that's all they know how to do because they see it as a shortcut, because it is a shortcut. But they see it that's all they know how to do. All they know how to do. They can't even use templates, guys, in After Effects. They can't even use templates in Premiere Pro. They don't even know how to edit video because it's all AI generated. They can maybe make straight cuts, right? But do they time it well? Can they time it to the music? Can they edit the music? Can they? Sorry, I don't mean to go on a tangent. But the fact is that these things are so similar to each other, in my opinion, where if you're just taking something and using it, it's not yours. And it is, people are able to see through it really easily. So customers are behaving more and more like these systems too. That's something to keep in mind as well. Because people can now kind of scan quickly and compare quickly and verify quickly because of the tools that we have, like Gemini, Google, that we're talking about. But no one really takes marketing at face value anymore too. They all view it as a scam for the most part. They investigate a little bit. Not a lot, because they're letting the tool do the investigating for them. They're a little more willing to do so, especially if the tool's not available. So I think one of the things that we need to make sense of this is this. Marketing in the traditional sense for online used to create belief. All right. But now what it does is it triggers validation. So when somebody is introduced to you online by some ads that you bought, say on Google, display, whatever, guess what? They're not going to trust you implicitly. They're going to say, that person exists. Let me go investigate them. Let me put their name into Google, ChatGPT, maybe they'll do that. Or maybe they'll actually just straight up go to your website. I know I've been doing that for a very long time. Just, oh, cool, that person exists. And I've been doing this for over 15 years ago, past 15 years. I don't trust a single person online in heaven for a very long time. When I was doing any kind of shopping, I wanted to know more about what I was buying. So I wanted to know about the business. I'd go to their website. I'd discover them. This was a long time ago. I still do that to this day. Now, I actually have introduced things like ChatGPT, maybe even Gemini, just to kind of like get an overview of like some options I might have. But very often I end up just I just scroll down some more and I start looking at the traditional way we do search. I have a problem actually with Google going away from having those index links. I use those. So what may end up happening is, of course, and I strongly recommend this for anybody who's listening to this, that if you don't like the way that Google is using AI search, don't use it. In fact, try to use something else if you can. Use Bing or something. I don't know. I actually do use Bing, by the way, because I get reward points and stuff, right? So, yeah. And on top of that, it's an alternative. I think you should always use alternatives because Google's going to give you a certain set of search information because it crawled differently than how Bing crawled on the internet. And Bing gives you a different amount, like different things it looked at. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, One thing I've personally noticed about all this too, by the way, is that some businesses are losing customers online without even realizing it. And I think a lot of this has to do with outdated websites, old photos, ignoring reviews, not responding to them. Whew. Big time, big red flag for a lot of people. Inactive profiles is another one too. You just haven't been posted for a very long time on, say, social media and stuff like that. And inconsistent info. That's a big one too. Really big one. Like, guys, if no one can tell that you're open online, what are you doing? Seriously? And if they go to Bing and they're like, well, it says here they're closed, and then you go to Google and it says here they're open, no one knows what to believe, right? Honestly, small businesses actually have the real advantage here, though, because I think that's what. Well, before I say that, I'm going to say this: people don't usually tell you when your digital presence is loses a sale, right? They just kind of move on. They don't talk to you. That's it. But honestly, guys, small businesses do actually have a real advantage here. Small businesses can feel human more easily than large corporations. They can respond quickly. They're very agile because they're usually 1, 2, maybe even 5 or 10 people, depending upon what's going on. Very few decision makers, right? And then of course you can build authentic relationships a lot more easily. And thank you for the like. Appreciate it. Also, guys, small business owners can create real engagement really fast. And I think it's really important that we understand that authenticity is becoming a competitive advantage again. All this worry 5, 6, 10 years ago of polished content, yes, it's great. You can still make polished content, but here's the problem. You can make polished content so easily now. You prompt it now. You can just prompt it. What is making people more excited now? More believable, I should say, is just simply being real and raw and honest. That's it. That's the secret sauce. That is so easy now for people to just pick up a phone and record themselves without having to do any editing, really. Very little of it. And boom, they all of a sudden are authentic. And guess what? People like them more, view them as authentic. And heck, guess what else does? AI and the algorithms, because that's where it's all headed, is authenticity. The polished content is going to be seen as bad. It's just the total shift, from what we used to see. So that is the long and short of most of what Google was talking about in their most recent thing. And I wanted to give the interpretation that I had for some of that specifically in there. There's more. I mean, obviously, we could go into why websites still matter. I mean, I think we've successfully done that. But again, it is super, super important that people get going. So let's quickly go through our usual thing and do the digital presence update segment so you can see some of the things that we've been talking about. So update number one for you guys, Google is improving AI overview links. So Google recently updated everybody to announced updates to links and citations inside AI overviews to help users discover authentic voices and deeper content. So what that means for you guys is that SMB for SMB is that citations matter, authority matters, and being reference worthy matters. Make blog articles. Make blog articles that are reference worthy. Making knowledge base. Get a knowledge base going, guys. There's this great plugin that I use. Was it open? Is it like Open Docs? What is it called? Better Docs. Get Better Docs. I'm telling you right now, that thing is amazing. All right, let me see if I can get a link for you guys in chat. Okay. Because Better Docs has been a huge deal for us. We are using it on TAF, and I think that what I love about it is, here it is right here. Is that it is a WordPress thing. You know, we're a WordPress house, so we love WordPress, right? But it is definitely useful. I put it that way. You can make a knowledge base out of it, multiple knowledge bases. Highly recommend it. Okay. Update number 2. Recognition is greater than rankings. Search engine land recently kind of let the cat out of the bag and discussed how SEO's goal is shifting from rankings toward recognition and authority. So the future of search isn't just being found, right? It's being trusted enough to be referenced. Akin to what we talked about a second ago. Update number 3, structured data matters more. So if you're wondering what I'm asking about that, structured data and schema is increasingly helping AI systems validate business information. So basically think about your FAQs, knowledge bases. Again, I mentioned knowledge bases a second ago. If your information conflicts across the web, AI systems lose confidence in your business. So make sure you're saying things consistently. If you say it on your website, make sure you're saying it in your social posts. Don't deviate. All right. Same thing goes for like Google Business Profile. There's FAQs in Google Business Profile. If you have an FAQ on your website and you have an FAQ on your Google Business Profile, make sure they are saying very similar, if not the same things. That's it. Okay. So update number 3 is super, super important at this point. So, guys, in closing, if you're a business owner listening to this, the biggest takeaway is this: digital presence is no longer just marketing. It's trust infrastructure. We know that AI search is changing discovery. We know that the trust signals are mattering more and more. Authenticity matters more and more. Consistency matters more and more. And websites still matter. The businesses that win moving forward won't be the loudest. Ad budgets aren't going to matter as much. They're going to be the ones that feel the most trustworthy. Well, that's it for me. This has been Joe with TAF Solutions, helping you make sense of what's changing so you can keep moving forward. Take care, guys, and I'll see you next time.